Okay guys and gals, this is the third video in the series how to build a reloading bench. So what we've done, I removed the top of the bench and then I took the screws out of the top of this bottom shelf. So now what I want to do, I want to show you the first step you need to do in anchoring your bench. I'm going to go ahead and raise this shelf, then I'm going to brace it. There we go. So now, the first thing I want to say is this. This is an 8-foot bench. You can pick your length, but when you build your bench, if you have the room, you want to go bigger than what you planned because you're going to fill your bench. So this is an 8-foot bench. So what I did is I took this 2x4 right here, and it is on the top portion of the foundation of the garage. And in other words, this foundation raises right at 6 inches off the ground. So that 2x4 is resting 6 inches off the ground on a solid concrete foundation. So you don't get any better than that. So what that does is that sets you up for minimalizing your vibration with a firm anchor. Now, as far as attaching that 2x4, what you want to do is I took 2 screws and I started in the furthest stud. I skipped the second stud. The third stud got 2 screws. The fourth stud I didn't anchor down. The fifth stud got 2 screws, and the sixth stud got 2 screws. So you don't have to put 2 screws for every stud, but if you want, you can. Okay? So now let's talk about the 2x4 that's parallel to that. The 2x4 that's parallel has to be the same height off the ground as this 2x4, and it has to be level. Okay? The supporting legs on it, you don't want any smaller than a 2x4. I'm going to swap this one out for a 2x6, but you can use a 2x4, okay, if you like, but don't go any smaller. Now, as far as this 2x4 goes, you don't want it any further than 24 inches out from the wall. And here's why. Because if you have 1, 2, 3 shelves, you have 2 shelves and a top, you can buy 2 pieces of plywood that are 48 inches across, cut them down the middle for 24 inches. 1 piece here and 2 pieces here. Okay, that makes for 1 sheet of plywood, and then the other 2 pieces go to the top, so you've doubled up on your top. In other words, on the shelves you don't need 2 pieces of the 3/4 inch plywood. You can get away with just chipboard like I've done, but then the top you put the plywood. So follow along and you'll see how that works. But basically all you have to do is have this shelf cut to 24 inches, and when it lays out, this will be flush with that shelf, and you have a 24-inch deep bench. And you have the best foundation possible. Now you can do one more thing. Once this piece is flat on the ground, you can take and you can cut 2x4s to length to go from the base of this to the ground, so you can set heavy objects on it and it won't bow your shelf in, okay? So you can do that. Now for this bench, I'm not going to do that. My other benches all have extra support under them, but this one won't. It won't need it. So as you can see, this is a nice setup because you can actually access this to keep it clean. Now I want to say a couple things, okay? This is really good advice, and I'll cover this on the beam type scales in a future video coming up. When you are cleaning your garage, 1, you want to avoid washing it down with water. That's going to increase the humidity and you're going to put rust onto your loading equipment. So avoid that. The other thing, try to avoid using a blower in your garage or compressed air to blow under this, and I'll tell you why. Dust buildup on your beam type scale where the knife rests off of the beam won't really hurt the accuracy. And in other words, if you want to dial it in for 10 grains, you can, but dust buildup will hurt the consistency. Okay, it won't measure, it won't weigh it out consistently. All right, so when I clean under this, normally I just take a whisk broom and I broom it out by hand, and it looks pretty good. Actually, it's kind of nice because there's no mouse droppings here, so I know my cat's doing a really good job. There are spiders galore. There is just, it's thick as spiders under here, and spider webs everywhere. There's just spider eggs all over this. So looks like I have to kind of do me some spraying. And look at that, guys. I just found some gold. 357 brass, man. That's gold. So okay, so there you go. So now I'm going to drop this shelf down, and so this shelf is 24 inches deep. So if you mount this bottom 2x4 onto the legs 6 inches up, you can just bring the whole frame in, and then you can begin screwing it in secure, and you got the bottom portion done, right? So that's the end of this video. Follow me on to the fourth video, because I'm going to show you how to set the second shelf up, and we'll go ahead and install it, and you'll kind of see how this all falls together. So that's the end of the third video. I'll see you on the fourth. Thank you, and God bless.